Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Overnight, President Trump face-to-face with those uncommitted voters.
Why did you throw vulnerable people like me under the bus?
Why don't you wear a mask more often?
Please stop and let me finish my question, sir.
His handling of the pandemic under fire from the beginning.
If you believe it's the president's responsibility to protect America, why would you downplay a pandemic that is known to disproportionately harm low-income families and minority communities?
Yeah. Well, I didn't downplay it. I actually, in many ways, I upplayed it in terms of action.
What? Well, okay. We'll unpack some of this. First of all, it was Pennsylvania, place he needs to win. There's only going to be about 5 or 6 states that really are going to be in play for these candidates to get over the line. I don't know if they were uncommitted. I will say this. It was a somewhat hostile crowd. I know Joe Biden is going to be doing one, I believe, on Friday. We'll see how that goes. But the reality is, I don't think he did well last night. It was not his finest moment. I don't think it was awful, but it wasn't great. But to say that these are undecided voters, when I was listening to some of it, I thought, you know what, I'm not feeling like this is undecided. I feel like most of these people have already made up their decisions on who they're voting for.
I thought you were doing a good job with the pandemic response until about May 1st. Then you took your foot off the gas pedal. Why did you throw vulnerable people like me under the bus?
Well, we really didn't, Paul. We've worked very hard on the pandemic. We've worked very hard. It came off from China. They should have never let it happen. And if you look at what we've done with ventilators and now, frankly, with vaccines, we're very close to having a vaccine. If you want to know the truth, the previous administration would have taken perhaps years to have a vaccine because of the FDA and all the approvals.
I don't know if that's true or not. I do think that it might have taken longer. That's the one thing I will say about this, is the way that they've gone about at least attacking a vaccine. But the rest of the world's attacking a vaccine as well. So I don't know if that's to be true. The action side. And, you know, Trump, the yesterday, if you saw any of it, it was very interesting about the way that he upsold it. Oh, I didn't underplay it. I upplayed it. You're like, what? Yeah, I upplayed it. How did you upplay it? Well, because I did, based on actions. And that's the way that, you know, people are they're going to look at it and they're going to unpack it the way they want to unpack it. Based on actions, I did a hell of a job. Based on words, you guys don't like what I did. Based on the actions I did at the beginning of this, amazing job. I didn't want to panic people. Maybe I should have been a little bit more forthcoming in some of this stuff, but the reality is we didn't know. I didn't want to come out and say this, this, and this, only to find out the next day it wasn't this, this, and this, and it was that. So I didn't want to oversell it, didn't want to undersell it. He didn't say any of those. Instead, he just said, I upsold it based on my actions. Trump has to win independent voters. If you are a supporter of Trump, he needs this. I was shocked to find out yesterday 25% of Americans supposedly don't know who they're going to vote for. And I think there's a good majority of those people who would like to vote for Trump, but at this moment don't feel they can vote for Trump. And they're going to hold out to the last moment. And I think a lot of what's going to happen going forward, and I've seen this more and more over the last several weeks, especially as Biden has been out there more. And that is growing on a daily basis. I had friends of mine who swore they would never vote for Trump. They voted for him before, but they were never going to vote for him again. That's it. The way he's handled COVID they are done. And over the last 10 to 14 days, they've said, I just want to see what happens in the debates. I want to see what goes on in the debates. And I think that's going to be huge. Huge. The more Biden's out there, the more it looks like he struggles. The more Biden's out there, the more you sit back and you say to yourself, that's no. yesterday. I don't even know what he's trying to he's out there and he's trying to reach for the Latinx voter, the Hispanic voter, the Latino voter. I don't want to leave anybody out. He's out there reaching. This right here is just as awkward as it gets.
I just have one thing to say. Hang on here.
All right. There you go. Dance a little bit, Joe. Come on.
I tell you what, if I had the talent of any one of these people, I'd be elected president by acclamation.
It's just awful. It's awkward. And I think a lot of people are going to say to themselves and are saying to themselves, I don't know if I can vote for Trump. But if these three debates end up being something where they're ugly and Trump absolutely steamrolls him, because this is his thing. He likes the fight. Then I don't know if I can vote for Biden. That's what people are grappling with. Now, 80% of America or so, they've made up their mind. They're Trump. They're against Trump. Remember, this has nothing to do with Biden. Biden is just the person in the room, the opponent that is in front of him. There's no enthusiasm for Biden. Biden's not packing in crowds. There's a great article in Axios yesterday talking about Trump and this cult of Trump and the king of branding, and that never before in our history have we seen anything anywhere like what Trump's doing, win or lose. Whether it's the boat regattas or the thousands of people standing in line or we've never seen anything like this whatsoever. The enthusiasm, the emotion, we've never seen this. Ever. Even people I knew who couldn't stand Obama's politics, they weren't as emotionally against him as you see with Trump. And I never saw anybody anywhere close to the cult of personality that Trump has built up and rapport with his supporters. So that's taken care of. But that 25%, those people in the center, you better figure it out. You're going to have chances to take on Biden. And Biden's gaffes are getting bigger, and the reason for that is he's in the spotlight.
You were a quartermaster. You can sure and hell take care of running a department store thing, where in the second floor of the ladies' department or whatever. You know what I mean?
No, we have no idea what you're saying. You're talking about an apothecary and the chemist, and nobody has any idea what you're saying at this point in time. So last night, I thought Trump did okay. I think Trump struggled at times, but he pushed through, and he was there. That's the other thing. At the end of the day, the one thing Trump, he's there. Trump's been, these nights, these debate nights, this is where he's most comfortable. He thrives on this. Every day. Think about this. Joe hasn't been tested in forever. Joe hasn't got any really hard questions. The media, they play softball with him when he actually talks to the media. Mostly he's on a teleprompter. That's going to be different. It's absolutely going to be different when Trump is standing there. It's going to be a much different story. Trump has been jostling with the media for years, not just these past 3.5, 4 years, or since he started running for president, for decades. The hostility, he didn't mind that. In fact, he relishes it. I used to, when I played soccer, there were guys who didn't like to get kicked. They didn't like that. There were guys out there who just didn't enjoy the physical side of the game. And I played in the 80s and 90s when it's nothing like it is now. Now you get touched and everybody, oh my gosh, there's cards everywhere and the referee. Back in my day, it's like, my God, you could do stuff that is just destroy somebody and not get in trouble for it. And then there were guys I played with who relished the physical side, who didn't feel like the game started until they got punched in the mouth, if you will, or they got whacked. Trump's that guy. I don't know if Biden is. I don't know. We're going to find out. Trump, I think, knows he's down in the cards. And I think he thinks to himself, I have 3 rounds to knock him out and give it my best and expose him for not being in a position for prime time. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me, text the program as well. Hope all is well with you. Love hearing from each and every one of you. Let me tell you something. Love my masterclass. It's weird because there are things that I'm like, you would think I'm not interested in. And like most people, like there's 85 different people that are masters in their art form. Like Jodie Foster and Annie Leibovitz. And next thing you know, you're sitting there and I'm like, well, I'm curious about photography. And you go in there and you look and you're like, you get sucked in and you're like, I'm learning things from the greatest of the great that are living right now. And they're teaching me things. It's incredible. So what Masterclass is, top people in their field. You have classes, individual lessons, 20 lessons per class, 10 minutes per lesson. You explore at your own pace. You can do it on your phone, your tablet, your smart TV, your computer. Each class has downloadable materials, workbooks, exercise, recipes, because they've got Gordon Ramsay, Wolfgang Puck, and many others. It is so amazing. It really, really, really is. You get 85 of the world's best teaching you everything from chess to skateboarding to tennis to cooking and everything in between. Now, just for being a Chad Benson Show listener, you get access unlimited. All you have to do is go to masterclass.com/Benson. You're going to get 15% off an annual membership, which is so inexpensive anyways. That's masterclass.com/Benson to save 15% off unlimited annual membership. Masterclass.com/Benson. Chad Benson Show.
To be free. I am not a terrorist. I am not Antifa. I am not a sex slave that wears masks.
Don't be a cutie pie.
Probably sit around and cook some soups and eat bread and desserts and just get all fat and sassy.
You're ruining my life, man!
Yeah, you haven't seen anything yet.
You're listening to The Chad Benson Show.
Why don't you support a mandate for national mask wearing?
And a good question is you ask, like Joe Biden, they said we're going to do a national mandate on masks.
He's called on all governors to have them. It is a state responsibility.
No, but he didn't do it. I mean, he never did it.
Even though Biden has no such authority. And as the country approaches the grim milestone of nearly 200,000 Americans dead.
So you regret nothing?
No, I think we did a great job.
Yeah, Trump will never regret anything, and that goes back to who he grew up with and Roy Cohn and who really shaped his life. It's all about going forward. It's never about the past. Never admit you're wrong. Keep going forward. But even there, though, and this is something very interesting, even there, George Stephanopoulos said something. He says, well, it's the governor's responsibility, and that has been. And I tell you guys, go at Vox. I know, well, that's crazy left-leaning. Ezra Klein did a very interesting conversation with, like, a podcast with an epidemiologist from Harvard. And she talked about the differences between how we handle things comparatively to how the rest of the world does. And I brought this up on Monday. Our individual way that we handle things is much different. We believe in the individual as much as I think in many cases a lot of people would like to start believing more in the government and allow them to run things. The fact is we're built on our individualism. And the way that the rest of the world works in a lot of ways is government, they believe in and they trust. So what the government says kind of goes, and it's easy because you have one singular government. Here we have the federal government, but we have states' rights. And the states have their own way that they do their own thing. And because of that, they should be doing their own thing. And we have deferred to the governors to do their own thing. And in some cases, they were very hard. I mean, you've seen what's happening in New Jersey and Cuomo and the way that they went after this and attacked it. So other states, they have not been as hard, and their results are different. And in many cases, their results are better. And by that, I mean, they haven't put out the mandate. They've allowed workplaces to do it. They've asked you to do, that's the difference between us and everywhere else is the fact that we've asked the individual to be responsible. And people kick back to me and go, well, the individual can't be responsible. Well, it's not the government's place to be the nanny for everybody and everything. And we're seeing that more and more. You would like to think everybody's responsible, but they're not. And I'm not just talking even about masks. I'm just talking about in general and everything. There's a reason now that we have to have disclaimers on everything. Don't try this at home. It's nuts. It's crazy. But that's the world we live in. We've allowed the individual to take part in their own health in the way that they do this. And it gets frustrating for a lot of people. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. All that is going on in Pensacola.
We're getting it now, and really this thing's been moving so slowly. We've been getting it like this for a good 6 hours. Power is out in most places, although the lights behind me are still happening. This water, shin deep where we are, but we walked through waist deep water from our hotel to this spot in downtown Pensacola. We've had about 5 feet of surge so far, and that's only going to increase as the center of this thing gets just abreast of us. We are on the right side of the eye wall. That's the most dangerous side, as you know, and we're obviously getting winds gusting well over hurricane strength.
Yeah, so they're getting hammered right now. And you can hear that the Sally is making sure. And Sally is that dangerous thing where it's not fast moving. It's slow and it brings a lot of precipitation and rainfall as opposed to something that may have stronger winds but move through quicker. So I have a feeling this is going to be a much bigger, uglier damage done out there in the southeast. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. So Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
So coronavirus has taken a lot away from us, besides just the health and the deaths that we've lost. Sports has been thrown into a wibbly-wobbly craziness of no fans, kind of fans. We cancel the season, part-time season, this, that, and the other. Then college football was a mess, and then say we're going to play. You guys aren't playing, but we're playing. Well, today, Big Ten going to play football. After they canceled about 6-8 weeks ago, they announced that they are going to resume within a month or so, 6 weeks, they are going to kick off the season. So that is good. And I think a lot of what was happening is people looking around saying to themselves, well, these other teams are playing. Why aren't we playing? Now the Pac-12 is the only large conference. So there's a Power 5 conference. You have the Big 12, you have the Big 10, the SEC, the ACC, and the Pac-12 is of the 5 conferences where they can win national championships, essentially. They are the only ones, and I hear they're going to vote sometime in the next couple days, which probably means they're back on. So what you're probably going to see is a bizarre situation where some teams are going to be 4, 5, 6 games into their schedule. Other teams will be kicking off. So we'll probably get college football all the way through January, and we may even get bowl games. So we may get October, November, and normally in December, you don't really have any football. You maybe have 1 or 2 games, and then it's pro football, and then you have the bowl games. We're probably going to get through December college football. So they're coming back, and we'll see what happens with the Pac-12. I'm assuming sooner rather than later that's going to they're going to make an announcement, and I don't think they can be the only ones going, all right, we're not playing. We got kids on campus, but we're not playing, that's ridiculous. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us and text the program as well. Trump!
But it's going to go away a lot faster.
It would go away without the vaccine?
Sure, over a period of time. Sure, with time it goes
and many
away.
deaths.
And you'll develop herd mentality.
Well, turd mentality is weird, but I see that happens every once in a while. A lot of people have turd mentality. I think what he meant was herd immunity. That was very much Biden-esque right there. You know, turd mentality. We got a lot of turd mentality already in this country. So what he was trying to say is, I speak a little Trump. In theory, human beings, we have survived, and he wasn't trying to say this, I'm just going to just throw it out there. We have survived over centuries upon centuries upon centuries because we've built up an immunity to things. One of the great things about travel and the fact that we've expanded travel, and it was this Neil deGrasse Tyson talked about how awful Christopher Columbus was, and at the same time, how what he did was maybe the greatest achievement, potentially, in many cases, just awesome and evil at the same time. Now, they didn't think of themselves as evil. But on top of all of the things that Christopher Columbus did is, as they expanded travel, as we've expanded travel through the years, and we talk about how viruses go from point A to point B, how fast it is, China and the whole 9 yards, it comes here. The reality is, without travel, we wouldn't have the immunities to the things we have nowadays. It's because, and that's how you build it up. Your exposure, and some people struggle with it. And some people die from it. And it is awful. Remember, at the end of the day, we're all doing our best. And this thing's novel. And I think we expect people to that they should know stuff immediately when it comes to this. And you can't know that. You can't. But there's some things you look at and you say, well, how does that happen? Sweden took an extremely light touch. They didn't close anything down. They didn't mask, mandates anywhere. They basically just said, be responsible and you do your thing and don't be a jerk. And they readily admit at the beginning of it, like every country I've seen, they failed when it came to the elderly community, nursing homes in particular. They failed big time. You look at Sweden now. You know how many deaths they had yesterday? 0. They have been steady. They've had days of 0, and they've had days where it's popped a little bit. But the reality is while they said herd immunity, definitely not Sweden's goal for the coronavirus, they're happy with the way things are going. And they're talking about the fact that, we've liked the light touch because all of the other countries, their whole thought process from the beginning of this is everybody else is going to end up where we're going to end up, and we're not going to destroy ourselves trying to end up in that place. We're going to let it take its course. We're going to learn to live with it, through it, and around it. And they have said they made some mistakes, but show me a country that's not made mistakes. Show me a country that's not made mistakes. You can't. Every country's made a mistake. Hell, Sweden is doing this, but you go look at France and you go look at Spain, who've had extremely hard lockdowns. They're struggling again. And you don't know why. And the other thing of all this crazy stuff that's going on, we don't talk about? Africa. I read a great article the other day where people are going, we don't know why. We thought once it gets to Africa, this thing is going to be nothing. Some people are saying it's because of some of the drugs they have taken, and whether it's the hydrochloroquine, because remember that fights malaria and things like that, and that they've built up something, as well as tuberculosis and some of the drugs they've taken there that has helped them over time. But it never really spread. It's just an odd thing. But the virus is the virus at the end of the day. Trump continues at his town hall last night. It's not all coronavirus.
Should pre-existing conditions, which Obamacare brought into fruition, be removed?
No.
Please stop and let me finish my question, sir. Should that be removed within a 36 to 72 hour period without my medication? I will be dead. And I want to know what it is that you're going to do to assure that people like me who work hard, we do everything we're supposed to do, can stay insured.
So, first of all, I hope you are taken seriously. I hope you are.
I hope she is too. They continue because Trump, when Trump was one of those things, they're going to fix healthcare. Healthcare is a nightmare. It is, first of all, so much money in it. We're not talking hundreds of millions. We're talking billions upon billions of dollars. Choice is huge. People want choice. That's part of our individualist makeup in this country is we want to feel like we control our choice and our destiny and where we go. And we all get pissed off and screwed over by the insurance companies, and people get pissed at that, and they have every right to be pissed at that because we don't know the rules. We don't know the games they play. I mean, I was reading yesterday. So my on-air partner for my other show, he went the other day, and it's odd enough. He's a super hypochondriac. He tells everybody not to do anything. He's so high, and he's not. Coronavirus has only exacerbated his hypochondriac ways. But the reality is, long before this, that's what he's been. So, but his wife is a go. She wants to go camping and she wants to go hiking and she wants to go places. She hates being stuck at home. She doesn't want to do any of those things. So they go out to dinner, this, that, and the other. And over the last couple of weeks, they've taken weekend trips. And they were supposed to go to Europe and they didn't do it. They canceled all that. So they've been taking weekend trips. So he said, I'm going to go get a coronavirus test. He goes, it's quick. He shows his license. They hand him the swab. He does it himself. He doesn't even get out of the car, hands it back to him, moves on. It doesn't cost him a penny. He didn't even ask for his insurance. And this is what frustrates people. So they didn't even ask him for his insurance. None of that stuff. Then I'm reading an article yesterday where the average COVID patients being billed by their insurance company, by the place, about $800. And you're like, and they are paying it. And it's the frustration. Who do you think pays for that? We do. These are the things that come with insurance that people get pissed off and frustrated with. Is we feel like we have no control. It's bizarre math. It's overpriced. Here's an aspirin. It's $300. It's not $300. For $300, I could probably figure out how to make my own aspirin. I got Google. I got YouTube. And Trump and the Republicans haven't put out any kind of real plan. They throw out some ideas that sound good, but they've never had anything good and comprehensive.
We're going to be doing a health care plan, pre-existing, protecting people with pre-existing conditions. As an example, yourself, it sounds like that's exactly perfect. That's exactly what we're talking about. I will say this. They will not do that because they have socialized.
I have to stop
you there.
Socialized I just have to stop you there. Obamacare guaranteed people with pre-existing conditions. You fought to repeal Obamacare. You're arguing in the Supreme Court right now to strike it down. That would do away with pre-existing conditions.
So that we can do new health care.
But you've been promising a new health care plan. I interviewed you in June of last year. You said the health care plan would come in 2 weeks.
Yeah, and it hasn't. It hasn't come.
You told Chris Wallace this summer it would come in 3 weeks. You promised an executive order on pre-existing.
I have it already.
But you've been trying to strike down pre-existing conditions.
I have it already, and it's a much better plan for you, and it's a much better plan.
Well, people are asking, where is it? Where's the much better plan? I'd like to see it. I think eventually we're going to get to the point where they're going to lower Medicare. People are going to have a chance to opt into that. And other people have the chance, if they're working at work and they offer something, they'll get that. And you're going to get what you get, right? So if you're with Medicare and you pay a little bit more in taxes and, you get what you get. If you can't see your doctor, immediately or 2 or 3 weeks, and that's what you get. And it takes a long time and it's convoluted. You might get that. And other people have the opportunity to pay for insurance and they'll get potentially better things. I myself, I pay extra on top of what I have because now I have access to a doctor. I'm very blessed. He's a great doctor. Let me tell you something. People say, oh, my God, he's not that expensive, my doctor here. on top of everything else. He's just not expensive. But I searched and I looked, and I wanted to have control. Some people want to give up that control. Totally understand that. Healthcare is not going anywhere. The battle's not going anywhere because much like everything else, the devil's in the details and the money's in the fight. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program as well. Love hearing from every single one of you. Keep texting. Check out Chad Benson Show TV. That is the YouTube channel. Chad Benson Show TV. Go there, subscribe, we'll put up new stuff. We're getting ready to do something fun. Got a couple progressive friends and a couple conservative friends. We're all going to go out and play golf. We're going to talk about politics and life, and it's going to be kind of fun. And I think it's just an interesting way because we're bringing people together with things that they like to do and something that frustrates all of us if you play golf. And at the same time, we're going to be able to have some commonality with the thing that we enjoy. And then we can talk about other things as we do it. Purple mattress. Love it. Absolutely incredible. My goodness me. On top of the purple mattress, they got pillows. This is what's great. So the pillow has 1,800 open air channels designed to neutralize the body heat. Purple provides the cooling effect when it comes to the pillow. So what does that mean? So the grid's engineered inside the pillow. So your neck support, your head support is great, but the airflow, what's that mean? You're never, ever going to sleep on anything but the cool side of the pillow. It is amazing. When you look at the grid and the things they've done, they've taken technology and they've upped the game of sleep, and it is awesome. It truly is. Every Purple product is risk-free, right? So the product itself is risk-free. Free shipping, free returns. Purple has financing available as low as 0% APR for qualified customers. So why don't you try it? I sleep so amazing at night. Last night, I fell asleep at 9 o'clock, and I woke up at 2:20 this morning, and I felt so refreshed and amazing. And you know what's great is I know I slept, and I didn't move, I didn't wake up, I didn't toss, I didn't turn. Experience the Purple Grid. You're going to sleep like never before. You go to purple.com/Benson10. When you use the promo code Benson10 for limited time, 10% off any order of $200 or more. Purple.com/Benson10, promo code Benson10, 10% off any order, $200 or more. Purple.com/Benson10. Terms apply. Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
Madonna expressing herself on the big screen. A movie about the Material Girl's life is in the works at Universal. And in true Madonna fashion, looks like she's going to direct the film herself. She's been working with Oscar-winning writer Diablo Cody on the script. No word yet who will play the iconic music star and actress. Madonna's the best-selling female music artist in history, with a career spanning 5 decades. This would be her 3rd time behind the camera for a major movie.
Yeah, she's gonna do a biop of herself. What's that going to be like? It's going to be interesting. Madonna's totally going to do it. She's like, I'm doing a biopic. Who could play me? The older me. Who do I know? Maybe me. Who could play the younger me? I don't know who'd play the younger her. You know what's crazy, though? Last night I was driving home and I was flipping around on I get away from the politics and stuff. I'm like, I'm just listening to some music, and Crazy For You came on. I'm like, this was a great song. This was a really, like, she was Gaga. Let's remember this. For the older people out there, you remember her. And you think, not what she has become and stuff, but, like, she was Gaga long before Gaga. But she's gonna have a biopic of herself. Wonder who will play her. And Diablo Cody, that'll be interesting. Do you think they tone it down or ramp it up? I think knowing Madonna, they're gonna ramp it up. She's gonna want to tell everything. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Producer Phil, you were stuck a little while ago in what kind of contraption?
I was stuck in an elevator.
elevator.
38-year-old Carrie O'Connor was a French lecturer at Boston University. Witnesses say she was moving into an apartment building, had a box in her hands when she got onto the elevator and was crushed by the lift when it suddenly dropped.
And she either panicked and went to jump off or panicked and didn't stay on.
Neighbor Leanne Scarzoni says screams were heard. O'Connor's body trapped between floors in the gruesome accident. The building dates back to the 1920s. The elevator said to be old as well. A man who witnessed the woman's death had to be taken to a hospital for trauma.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, that's like everything out of every horror movie ever. My grandmother was terrified of elevators. Just terrified of elevators. Like, what kind of wizardry is this? Thank God that wasn't you, Phil. It could have been you.
I thought about that.
Would you have live streamed the crashing down of it all?
Well, yeah, I need to get likes.
There you go.
I only have 2 subscribers.
Then you'd have 3. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. As young Phil floats off to heaven, he goes viral. That'll be the last thing he takes away. I hope this goes viral. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Overnight, President Trump face-to-face with those uncommitted voters.
Why did you throw vulnerable people like me under the bus?
Why don't you wear a mask more often?
Please stop and let me finish my question, sir.
His handling of the pandemic under fire from the beginning.
If you believe it's the president's responsibility to protect America, why would you downplay a pandemic that is known to disproportionately harm low-income families and minority communities?
Yeah. Well, I didn't downplay it. I actually, in many ways, I upplayed it in terms of action.
Huh? What? That was Trump last night. He just tweeted a while ago how he thanks everybody for the awesome response he's getting from his town hall. I don't think it was awesome. I don't think it was awful, but it definitely wasn't his finest moment. I think that they were hard on him, and I like that. Biden is supposed to have one on Friday. I hope they're hard on him. Biden hasn't had anything really thrown at him. It's been very, very much a free run for Biden with no real questions, no real pushback on any of his things, none of that stuff that you'd like to see him get. And Biden's he's been around for 47 years. He's not new. This isn't like, we just saw this kid. He showed up out of nowhere. That's not it. It's not. But there's a difference between running as, the second guy in charge, running, being a senator, to being the dude, the guy, the man, the leader, being in the spotlight, the front runner. How does he handle it? Trump has a lot of questions that people are throwing at him that they want answered.
I thought you were doing a good job with the pandemic response until about May 1st. Then you took your foot off the gas pedal. Why did you throw vulnerable people like me under the bus?
Well, we really didn't, Paul. We've worked very hard on the pandemic. We've worked very hard. It came off from China. They should have never let it happen. And if you look at what we've done with ventilators and now, frankly, with vaccines, we're very close to having a vaccine. If you want to know the truth, the previous administration would have taken perhaps years to have a vaccine because of the FDA and all the approvals.
I don't know if that's to be true. To be honest with you, I don't know. None of that matters because you're the person, right? You can't talk about, well, the other pilot probably would have just crashed into the mountain. No, you're the person piloting the plane. It's up to you. According to several polls, and that's all we have right now, there's at least 20 to 25% of people that have yet to make up their mind. And I would say a good majority of those independent voters, a good majority of them, are probably leaning toward Biden But they want to wait to see what the debates are going to play out like. And I think that's where Trump has to be focused. His focus has to be singularly on the debates. I think, and don't underestimate Joe. Don't underestimate Joe. Come hard. Trump doesn't train. And you know, somebody asked me yesterday, well, Joe's probably practicing for this. Well, two things. You don't practice. You don't know what's coming with Trump. It's hard to practice with something that you have no idea what they're going to throw at you, especially Trump. The second thing is, it's hard if you're Joe Biden to get in a groove where you're going to be under attack all the time. And you also don't know what the moderators are going to be like. Chris Wallace, I think, is going to give it to them both pretty damn hard, as they should. I don't know what the other moderators are going to look like and how they're going to act. And that's important. Because no matter what the debate's like, to me, I will always say this, the most important person in the debate to get the things that we need out of it isn't the candidates themselves, it's the moderator. Because if the moderator asks first the right question that leads them into the pushback and second question, which is the most important question. How does Joe Biden handle that? Because he's going to get pushback. He's also going to be challenged by Trump. Trump is used to being challenged. You could say all you want about, well, Trump's an awful person. He's all these things. Trump is a fighter. Everybody's got to admit he's a fighter. The second thing with Trump is he does this all day. He's in front of hostile crowds. He's in front of people that are asking him questions all the time. He's not afraid to go anywhere and debate or do anything. That is mightily important, because I think there's still a lot of people out there who are very curious to see what happens. And let me ask you this. If you are a Trump, you can't stand Trump, but you're not saying no, or you like Biden as an alternative to Trump right now, and you see Biden absolutely get hammered in these first three, and the only three we're going to have, where he looks lost, disoriented, doesn't have the right answers, stumbles around, that's a tough thing to say, I'm going to give this guy 4 years. But the people that are on the ballot, Trump and Biden, you can slash Biden's name. It's Trump versus Trump. Can you stand another 4 years of lies, fighting with the media lies, the slanting of one story to another story, the potential for yet another impeachment, the fighting in the political sphere, the chaos, the craziness? And at the same time, a chance to bounce back big in the economy. You see what's going on in the Middle East. He's making headways, there was nothing talked about that yesterday. Bahrain, United Arab Emirates, Bibi Netanyahu, all sitting down at a table, signing diplomatic accords to have some normal relations, bringing home our troops, things of that nature. That's an action side. So those are what people are going to have to decide. But I think the three debates is where Trump knows this is it. These are my championship rounds. If I do what I think I can do, I think people will have no choice but to go, and I just can't choose Biden. But that's a big if. I think Biden, he may be overmatched in the first one, and then it's on to the second one. Remember, Romney really went after and did a hell of a job in the first debate against Obama, but Obama came back strong. I don't know if Joe has that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me, text the program as well. Love hearing from every single one of you. By the way, all of this going on, we still have no stimulus. Remember, at the end of this month, We could be facing the government shutdown. All of this stuff going on. People out there are still trying to figure out, okay, my state, my cities, my businesses, they're not reopening. Why can't we get something done, even if it's just short-term and temporary?
This is what the Speaker is threatening to do. She is threatening to keep the House Democrats in session and prevent them from going home and running for re-election unless the Senate Republicans agree to the Speaker's $3.4 trillion coronavirus bill. And when she made that statement, my Republican colleagues in the Senate, we just looked at each other and said, okay.
So what does that mean? Well, it means that they're going to go home and they're going to campaign while everybody else stays there and works. There is nothing yet. They're not getting closer. And they need to start saying to themselves, what can we do piece by piece? People are frustrated. They're confused. Do I get the extra $300 with Trump stuff? Did I not get the extra $300? Is that coming today? Is that coming tomorrow? Am I not getting it at all? Why aren't they doing anything? Nobody can tell you why they're not doing anything outside of the fact that it's all politics. It comes down simply to this. I don't want to give them a win. They don't want to give me a win. Not a situation where they say to themselves, this is what's best and a win for the American people. That's what we should be looking at. And we don't get that because there's too many people fighting over how they look to their base rather than what's best for the American people. And that's a frustrating thing. But when politics gets into anything, I don't care what it is. It gets into sports. It gets into entertainment. It gets into everyday life. When it gets into anything and people start politicking to make themselves look better, you know what ends up happening? Usually everything falls flat. And that's what we have. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Sally smashing in today. Pensacola. It's going to get ugly. The streets right now are an absolute mess. You've got water everywhere. And this is this is going to be an ugly, ugly situation because of how slow it is. And that's the scary thing. People think they go and they look and they're like, well, this really wasn't a bad hurricane as far as, because you look at the category and the winds. What you have to look at times is the speed of which it's traveling. And the slower the speed with more precipitation means more rain. It's the rain that does the damage. The winds can get ugly and nasty, but the rains themselves will do the flooding. And that's what causes all the problems. It's caused levees to break, things of that nature. And this is not a very fast-moving thing, and it's going to dump a ton of water. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Text the program. Check out Chad Benson Show TV on YouTube. Car Shield. Every one of us is trying to figure out where we can cut corners to save money. Some of you out there are bypassing getting a new vehicle, and one of the reasons is your cars last longer than ever before, so why would you want to go do something? You like your car, but you do worry about the fact that you don't have any protection. Well, now you have covered protection with Car Shield starting as low as $99 a month. Call them up, 800-CAR-6000. Code Benson saves you 10%. Be specific in what you're looking for. Are you looking for a complete drivetrain? Are you looking for your transmission? And you think I worry about that? Are you worried about maybe the air conditioning and the electronics in your car? They've got a plan that fits your budget. You get 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop. It's a small deductible. You could save hundreds upon thousands of dollars and protect your car and your wallet. So what are you waiting for? Call Car Shield today. 800-CAR-6000. Code Benson saves you 10%. Or go to carshield.com. carshield.com. Use that code Benson to save 10%. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
You stink like fear and white male privilege to me.
I do often out myself verbally as agender. My pronouns are they, them, and I'm proud to be agender.
Are you stupid?
Are you kidding me? Not a great way to use your white privilege.
Some people get it, some people don't.
You're listening to The Chad Benson Show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? All right, trending big right now. Big Ten football. They announced a little while ago that they are going to have a season after saying they weren't going to have a season. They kick off October 17th, so about 1 month from today. They're going to have an 8-game season, and then we're going to figure out what happens with the bowls from there. Everybody's now looking at the Pac-12 and whether or not they'll play. The Pac-12 may play, but it may only be the Pac-8 because Gavin Newsom may say, sorry, Cal, Stanford, UCLA, and USC, you guys can't play. Or they may say, well, we're going to go play, if there's not going to be fans, we might as well go play in other places. So we'll see what takes place from there. Mandalorian Season 2, or as my uncle calls, Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda. Maria Taylor. Now, Monday Night Football, Maria Taylor, who is a sideline reporter, and she does college football, she does everything. A host at 670 The Score in Chicago, Dan McNeil, tweeted about her outfit that she looks like she was a host for an adult entertainment award show. And then, of course, people attacked him, but it doesn't matter. He lost his job, and he's done. So, I never listened to the guy. Did I think it was over the top? I just thought it was a stupid comment. Didn't look to she looked great, I'll be honest with you. She looks great. She does a hell of a job. That should be all that matters. But welcome to the world where you just got to be careful, right? And it was a stupid thing to say. Even if it was meant in jest, you're just, I mean, are we too thin-skinned now? Absolutely. And somebody asked me yesterday, like, do you get offended by stuff? I'm like, I get nothing but hate all day at times. Why would I be offended by stuff? Do I really care? Like, do you really care what so-and-so says? No. He's just, it was an idiotic thing to do. But I think the more that we learn to brush things off, the better it's going to be for all of us. Head on over to Twitter. Herd mentality instead of herd immunity. Then I think he said turd, too, last night, Trump. And it was kind of funny what he said. I understand, I think, what he was trying to say, but it was the usual Trump thing where it kind of went weird.
But it's going to go away a lot faster.
It would go away without the vaccine?
Sure, over a period of time. Sure, with time it goes
many
away.
Deaths.
And you'll develop herd, like a herd mentality.
Or something. Herd immunity is what he was looking for right there. Some other things on Twitter that are exploding, if you will. More and more for Pac-12, the Big Ten, as football comes back. And then Joe Biden trying to play Despacito as Luis Fonsi introduced him at an event on his phone because I think he thought it would be hip and cool. And it just looked like your grandfather trying to figure out. He reminds me of my great-grandmother when the answering machines first came out. Hey, thanks for calling such and such, and this is us, leave a message. And it would be me, and then she would argue with the machine because she thought it was me and I was playing a game with her. That's what he feels like at times. The Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Why don't you support a mandate for national mask wearing?
And a good question is you ask, like Joe Biden, they said we're going to do a national mandate on masks.
He's called on all governors to have them. It is a state responsibility.
No, but he didn't do it. I mean, he never did it.
Even though Biden has no such authority. And as the country approaches the grim milestone of nearly 200,000 Americans dead.
So you regret nothing?
No, I think we did a great job.
He's never going to regret anything. Ever. He doesn't. You know, many people on their deathbed will regret a lot. I don't think Trump's going to regret anything. I think he was like, did everything I wanted to do, and that's it. It's just, I don't think he just doesn't have that in him. That thing that I think a lot of people in a situation like that look for, which is this empathy, this kindness. And for a majority of people, that is a huge kind of turnoff. It's just not Trump. That's not in his DNA. It's not his makeup. I didn't think he did great last night. I thought he did okay. But by and large, it was pretty much just kind of the usual thing that Trump does. He goes out, he takes questions, he spins it the way he wants to spin it. They run and fact check it. They say everything's a lie. He comes out and said it's all a bunch of baloney. And then we move on with our lives. You're going to vote for who you vote for. You know, people ask me, if you listen to the opening of the show, I'm independent. Well, but you're on talk radio, so should you be conservative? I have some conservative ideals. I believe low taxes. I believe in a strong military. I like our borders to be strong, but I'm totally open and understand why people come here, and I think we should make it easier for people to do that. While it's a choice I wouldn't make, I would never take away a woman's choice. I believe you should love whoever the hell you want. We sit here and we have these battles, and we choose this red and the blue. And people talk about, well, you got to pick a side, you're milquetoast. No, ask me a question about an issue. I can compartmentalize. You want to go one way or the other on everything. So ask me about an issue, and I'll tell you about an issue. My opinion may be wrong. And in your mind, even if it's right, it may be wrong. I'm the voter that Trump needs to win. I'm the voter who doesn't live or die by red or blue. I'm the voter that's not a party voter, but somebody who does my homework, somebody who researches, and somebody who's coming at with an actual thought put together. Not that this is Trump and I listen to the talking points of the right and the left and they say if this happens, this is what's going to happen, because it's all a bunch of crap. It's a bunch of BS. I'm that voter. Wow me. Every one of you out there, whether you're Republican or Democrat, what you really need to be is a free agent. Make them work for your vote. Make them earn your vote. Through action and not just words and slogans and great things you can have in sound bites. How do you win my vote? I don't have Trump derangement syndrome, and I'll call him on the floor for the BS. At the same time, I can compartmentalize that and say actions are important. Actions do matter. Not just words. Not just words. And I think for a lot of people, they're fine with great words and little action. They don't like abrasive people, even if the action could benefit them, because they'd rather be told something they want to hear than hear something they don't, and then have that person actually do something about something in a way that makes them feel uncomfortable. That's just it. We live in a world now where, and it goes to the world of political correctness, so we're going to talk about that, where we're at a point where you'd rather hear a lie that makes you feel better than hear something that's truthful that makes you uncomfortable. That's where we are. And it's permeated in every aspect of life now, from work to school to just about everything. What's the right thing to say in this situation that makes everybody feel good? Not what needs to be said. And that is frustrating. Look, there's a lot I don't like about Trump. I don't mind the abrasiveness. I don't. I think the way he's handled things at times has been asinine. I think the fighting with the media all the time has been ridiculous. And by the way, the media, you are just as guilty because you feed off of him and he feeds off of you. And you guys both turn it into a crap show. I can call Trump out for it, but I don't have derangement syndrome because I can also give him credit about what's going on in the Middle East. When's the last time we heard about any crazy flare-ups in the Middle East? Honestly, when's the last time? When's the last time that Kim Jong-un has really rattled his saber? Everybody freaked out that he met him. He even talked about that with you know, this Woodward and the whole thing, because the whole thought of Kim Jong-un, and I always said this from jump, Trump thinks he can deal with a guy like that. He's like, this guy's a little scumbag. This guy's a little turd. I know these kind of guys. I deal with them all the time. I talk my way around this guy.
He didn't respect Obama, didn't like him, didn't respect him, thought he was an asshole. Okay. Bush was too stupid to know what was happening. Bush has no clue. Okay, that's why we ended up in the Middle East, so we spent $8 trillion there. When I did this, I said, what do we have to lose? You know my famous expression with African American. What do we have to lose? It's a great statement because they said, and now the best employment, the best this, the best that. Okay, so the fake news says, the first 24 hours, people couldn't believe it. CNN said, holy shit, I can't believe it. He wants to meet with President Trump. He wants to meet. This never happened. Okay.
Right, so he goes off. And there's a portion of that's right. There is. There's absolutely a portion of that's right. And it's funny because they ripped Trump for meeting with Kim Jong-un, and yet 90 miles off our coast, off Florida, the Obama administration goes and basically says, hey, maybe we should be friends again with Cuba. Which, nothing. It was just, it's historic. Like, Kim Jong-un is a special kind of cuckoo. We get that.
After a few days, they said, well, let's pull it back. It's making Trump look too good. This is no good. Let's pull it back. So now what they actually said, I've given him so much. You know what I've given him? Nothing. I met. And I haven't taken sanctions off.
Yeah, what? Well, it doesn't matter. You met him. Well, yeah, but you met him. What does it matter? We tried the other way. Right? Everybody tried to appease him. Remember in the 90s, Albright and everybody, and Clinton's like, oh, we've done this now. He's going to be fine. And next thing you know, a few years later, Pops has got a nuclear weapon and everybody was sleeping on their hands. Oh, what have we given him? Well, legitimacy. Who thinks he's legitimate? Honestly, who? Do you think people in Germany are sitting there and go, well, now that Trump's met, Kim Jong-un, he's legitimate? No. Everybody knows exactly who he is. That's Trump's thinking. He thinks he can talk his way in and out of stuff. That's why he thinks that, hey, you know what? I'm losing now in the polls. I still think I'm going to win this thing. And I think I'm going to do it because I'm going to be able to talk to the American people in these debates, and I'm going to be able to talk circles around this guy, and I'm going to show him things, and they're going to go, well, I can't vote for Biden. That's what he thinks. Whether or not it comes true, I don't know. But I think he really, in his mind, he never, ever believes he's out of it. He never does. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us. The Big Ten made an announcement. They are coming back to play some football. So a month from now, they will be playing an 8-game season. So we'll see what that looks like, what kind of fans. And people are like, I can't believe they're doing this. And I'm thinking to myself, what can't you believe? Well, that they're playing football in this pandemic. But all these schools have kids on campus. You don't seem to care that they're going to class. Yeah, but they shouldn't be. Okay. Well, they are. And that's the whole thought process is, well, if we're not going to have any kids on campus, then we shouldn't have football players. Well, or any of these other things. Well, they've decided they're going to get into it and play. What it looks like, I don't know, but they're going to try it. Pac-12, people are going to be looking at them. NFL kicked off. By the way, NFL's got NBC. All ratings across the board over the weekend were down for the NFL. They were down. I think the Bucs and the Saints were the only one that was up. And because people were curious, what's Brady look like? He's in a new uniform. It looked weird. What does that look like? But the wokeness, the movement, the way that things are going, the social justice, that you can't say that's not having an effect. I'm sorry, it is. Monday night was a perfect example. Get ready for this. Down over 20% for the first game. So you have the Steelers and the Giants, two iconic franchises on Monday Night Football. The second game, it was down 40+%. Now, granted, it was a later game. East Coast didn't quite get it, but still down 40% from the same time last year when they did the exact same thing, because Monday Night Football kickoff weekend, they do an early game at like 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, and then they do a 7 o'clock game after that. And ESPN, a lot of people I talked to said it was just too much with ESPN. It was just too much. It felt like that all it was about was this. Like the games weren't that great either. Mike Ditka, very loud, very conservative, very old, very white, also a legend.
Did you even watch yesterday? What were your overall thoughts, Coach?
I watch football, but I don't pay much attention to it anymore. I mean, it's not a complicated thing. You play the game, you enjoy the game. You don't like the game, get out of it. Not for protesting one way or the other, what color you are, what you think, this and that. Hey, you play football. That's it. You're privileged. You got a gift from God that you can play the game because you got a body you can do it with. I don't really understand what you're protesting.
No, you're old, and you're old and you're white. You don't understand what you're talking about.
No, and I would tell those players, go to another country and play football there. Then you don't have to come out. You don't have to come out for the anthem if you go to another country. You can, because the game's only played in this country. And if you can't respect this country, get the hell out of it.
Stern words. I'm sure it'll be canceled by the time this is over.
I played the game. I coached the game for a long time, and you ought to get down on your hands and knees and thank God every night that you can make the kind of money you can make playing football or playing any sport. So, I mean, to me, it makes no sense. So you got the wrong guy.
Harsh words. Of course, he's getting taken to task today as a racist, white privilege, the whole 9 yards. He's stuck in his ways. He is what he is. But the numbers, as far as the viewership, that reflects that some people are just kind of over this. And the NBA has been having their issues as well. And the NBA's got a lot of, hypocrisy that people are looking at the NBA with the fact that you go and attack Daryl Morey at the beginning of the season, the GM, for standing up for Hong Kong, and they freak out over that because of China. And then the way that you go about doing things here. By the way, here's one thing. Tyler Eifert, who is a football player, he wore Officer Dorn, who was killed in St. Louis during the riots after George Floyd. He wore his name on the back of his helmet because that was not talked about at all, really, outside of some conservative news outlets. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. HelloFresh.com. Promo code Benson, $80 off your first box, free shipping. You're going to want to do this. Contact free, comes direct to your door. 22 chef-curated recipes each week. Low calorie, that's what I'm doing this week. Absolutely delicious. I'm not starving. I had steak and a salad last night. It took me about 20 minutes or so, and it was amazing. They've got family-friendly options as well as vegetarian. Whatever it is that fits your lifestyle. You can add meals. So let's just say you're going to have family over and you want to add some meals. You can do that. You can skip a week. Maybe you're going to go on vacation. It's incredible. And the amount of money I'm saving is the biggest shocker to me. The food is amazing. It's fresh. It's incredible. But I'm saving like 50% versus shopping at the grocery store. I don't have to worry about meal prepping and planning. I'm not going there to get my stuff, and I'm saving a ton of money, and there's no waste of food. Do it. Get it for yourself. Go to HelloFresh.com. Use promo code Benson. You get $80 off your first box and free shipping. HelloFresh.com. Use the promo code Benson. HelloFresh.com. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show, where we reach across the aisle and occasionally poke someone in the eye.
No!
Certified free. It's the end of one of rap's royal couples. Cardi B and her husband Offset are getting divorced. The WAP rapper filed papers in Atlanta saying the marriage is, quote, irretrievably broken and there are no prospects for a reconciliation. She's asking for custody of their 2-year-old daughter, Culture. Cardi and Offset were married just shy of 3 years.
Sometimes you look at a couple and they get together and you think to yourself, if anybody in this world is going to make it, it's those two. I mean, she's WAP. She's got all kinds of WAP going on. He's not regular set. He's offset. Like, this was a marriage made in heaven. Like, if you were going to draw it up, like, this is the one. And when you see something like this take place, when you see something like this happen, when you read and hear stories that they can't make it, there's just no hope for the rest of us. I have to be honest with you. I forgot she was even married. And I forgot she had a kid. Maybe that's the problem with the WAP. If you don't know what the WAP is, kids, and you're not super prudy, because I don't want you to go, oh, Chad, you said you can watch the WAP. But it's empowering, apparently. And it makes Ben Shapiro very uncomfortable. Oh, my Lord. It is, I can't believe they didn't make it. Offset. How do you think you come up with a name like that? Like, Post Malone was very, very honest about it. He put his name into a rap generator. I think his name is Post, his last name. It's like Malone. All right, sounds good. I'm going to go with this. Should I get tattooed somewhere? Like my friend, when you're a kid, you have friends and you come up with their nicknames based on something in your life. Like, what was he? Like, was he some sort of old newspaper guy and everything was a little offset? Yeah, call that guy Offset. I don't know. The printing press isn't working. Everything's offset with that guy. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Overnight, President Trump face-to-face with those uncommitted voters.
Why did you throw vulnerable people like me under the bus?
Why don't you wear a mask more often?
Please stop and let me finish my question, sir.
His handling of the pandemic under fire from the beginning.
If you believe it's the president's responsibility to protect America, why would you downplay a pandemic that is known to disproportionately harm low-income families and minority communities?
Yeah. Well, I didn't downplay it. I actually, in many ways, I upplayed it in terms of action.
So, Trump last night, people today are like, he got ambushed, people on the right. He didn't get ambushed. He got asked hard questions. And I hope that the hard questions come to Biden, because supposedly Friday, it's Biden's term. And I say that because you never know. I don't know. But I will tell you this. He wasn't ambushed. Now, do I think they were independent voters that hadn't made up their mind? No, I think most of those people in there had made up their mind. They don't like this guy and this president. And that's what it was supposed to be. Independent voters who have yet to make a decision about the forthcoming election. And I don't think that was true either. He got some hard questions, as we should see. I want to see our president and our candidate for presidency answer real tough questions and put in real world answers, not the stat answers that people get from candidates all too often.
Now, there is, by the way, a lot of people don't want to wear masks. There are a lot of people think the masks are not good. And there are a lot of people that, as an example,
Who are those people?
Well, I'll tell you who those people are. Waiters, they come over and they serve you, and they have a mask. And I saw it the other day where they were serving me. And they're playing with a mask. I'm not blaming them. I'm just saying what happens. They're playing with a mask, so the mask is over, and they're touching it, and then they're touching the plate. That can't be good.
Huh? What? Wait, what? Where are you going with this? I don't know. Those are the things. I didn't think he did great. I think it was the worst thing ever. I gave him a C. He had some serious questions thrown at him. He had some serious questions. People and George Stephanopoulos pushed back. I like it. I think Trump thought he did a fine job. You'll never hear that from he'll think to himself, you'll never hear I sucked at that. It's always I did great. I did great. I did great. I kicked butt. I took it to him. I did it. On the other side of things, you've got Joe Biden, who's slowly but surely emerging from his brumination or hibernation, and he's coming out, and he's doing some things, but most of it's on teleprompter, and some of it is awkward. Case in point, Luis Fonsi, who had the big hit Desperado or Despacito. He was doing a Latinx vote thing, and he introduced Biden, and then Biden pulls this gem.
I just have one thing to say. Hang on here.
So he takes out his phone.
All right.
There you go. Dance a little bit, Joe. Come on.
I tell you what, if I had the talent of any one of these people, I'd be elected president by acclamation.
Huh? What? So there he was, doing his thing, trying to be hip and cool and failing miserably at it, but he wasn't done there.
You were a quartermaster. You can sure and hell take care of running a department store thing, where in the second floor of the ladies' department or whatever. You know what I mean?
So if you were a quartermaster, a senior soldier who supervises stores or barracks to distribute supplies and provisions, you could apparently run a department store second floor. A lot of questions about him as well. Rightly so. I want to see how he answers questions that are, I don't want to say hostile, because this is what people are going to say, but are real. And when the debates come, which is 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, we're 13 days away from the first debate. When that happens, what does that look like? Chris Wallace is going to come hard at Trump. He always does. Just because you don't like the fact that he works for Fox, that's Chris Wallace. He'll come hard, much harder than I think the people on the left are going to come at Biden. I want to hear I want to hear an honest second question. The first question is the setup. The moderator is going to be when you look at debates, and too often people don't understand this, the most important person at the debate is the moderator, because he or she will set up what the reality of what something is going to be that's coming out of the people's mouths that are up there. So if you want to know what somebody's really going to be able to do, you have to challenge them. You do that by asking a first question that's kind of like watch boxing. You work the body, you work the body, you work the body. Why? Because I want to go upstairs, see if he can take a punch. But to get there, I know I got to work the body. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to offer them a first question here, a first question there, somewhat. They're going to come out and give their spiel. The second question I answer, though, the rebuttal to their answer is the one that's going to matter. That's going to be really important. And if we get a lot of stumbling around, I'm not worried about whether or not Trump can answer these things. I'm not worried about any of that. At all. Now, may not be true. It may be spun in his direction, because that's what all politicians do. But if you start getting weird questions, answers like this.
You were a quartermaster. You can sure in hell take care of running a department store thing, where in the second floor of the ladies department or whatever. You know what I mean?
If you start getting weird things, and his problem is he starts to tell, he throws out analogies, kind of like Trump's had to do with that. Let me tell you about, who doesn't like these things. People who wear masks like waiters and you start throwing that out. That's when he really gets lost. And then he says his go-to to try to reposition himself is, look. So listen for that night. Look. It's very important. I will tell you this. He knows he's going offline when he has to throw. Look, man, that means he's lost his train. But those 3 nights are the most important nights in this election, in this cycle. Those 3 nights. Those are Trump's championship rounds, the 10th, 11th, the 12th. The chance for him, because he knows he's behind on the cards, to either make a comeback or not. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program as well. Coronavirus still here. Trump got a lot of questions about his handling of it last night. We're still looking for a vaccine.
There's mild to moderate side effects, which is not a big surprise given that this is a viral vaccine, similar to other vaccines that we have, where the effects are headache, feeling fatigued, chills, muscle aches, and fever.
And that is Pfizer's one that they believe, and that they came out and said probably middle to end of next month, they should have enough information when it comes to the vaccine and how it's working that I might be ready to go. Now, how long until we get it, I don't know. Other vaccine makers are right around the same period, probably looking more towards middle November to early December. But one of the things, though, that some vaccine makers are saying is this a one-shot or two-shot? Because that's some of them that they've started off early. It's a 2 shots that they're giving people, and they've been very cautious, saying, look, if it's 2 shots, it could be a long time, much longer than people realize, before we're able to vaccinate everybody who wants one. And then there's the worry about whether or not it's going to be safe.
The reason I haven't lost faith is because there are many scientists and officials who work at both the CDC and the FDA. There are layers of quality control. And ethics matter and are taken very, very seriously, no matter the politics.
You know why I don't worry? And people say, Chad, you said you wouldn't get the first round. Yeah, not because I worry that you're going to get it and you're going to die or anything like that. It's just because I just don't think it's going to be as effective as some people think. And I think the side effects may be a little bit more, and I want to see what's out there. But I would have zero problem taking one. And the big reason has zero to do with who is at the CDC or who you have faith in. You know why? Because of lawyers. Because of lawyers. The most important part of all of this stuff, when it comes to how safe is it, has nothing to do with the scientists, the doctors, the CDC, any of that stuff. It has all to do with the lawyers. Because if you give something to thousands upon hundreds of thousands of people that causes them to get sick and die, you will cease to exist as a company. And you'll be living in a halfway house. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. So there's your faith. For once you go, well, I'm not really worried about what you say. I'm more worried about they look like they're okay with us taking it. The guys in the briefcases with the big things that look like they're going to sue us. Yeah, they look okay. So if they're telling me it's okay, I think I might make a run at it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us. Love hearing from every single one of you. WoundedPawProject.org. Amazing organization. I've worked with them for a while. They rescue dogs that would be euthanized and take them from the shelters and turn them into service dogs for veterans, first responders, and their families. You will absolutely be amazed at the work that they do. Veterans come home, they have trouble, really when they come home, sometimes just coming to grips with life. And some of our first responders are having issues. And there's just so many things that go into what they're doing with these animals and how they're helping not only veterans, first responders, but their families. You can get involved by helping. Car, truck, RV, boat, if it flies or floats. Great tax deductible gift. On top of that, they take cash, or you can go to Wounded. You can go to woundedpawproject.org and find that out, or go to smile.amazon.com and set a supporting group up for Wounded Paw Project, and you can give that way. Find out how you can give, find out the work they're doing, because it is truly amazing. Go to woundedpawproject.org, woundedpawproject.org. Chad Benson Show.
I usually don't get into politics. As an ordinary suburban housewife, I feel a little disrespected. I teach my children not to name call.
You are a blabbermouth!
Come on, man.
Guys, can we please keep the chatter to a minimum?
Chad Benson.
Just a lot
in some ways, in a lot of ways, because of Ohio State. They have one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the country. They have one of the best players in Justin Fields. And I think without that, we may not be here today, but Ohio State really, and Ryan Day, the head coach, drove this bus.
Yeah, Paul Feinbaum, Big Ten is coming back. They're going to be back in about a month. They're going to have an 8-game schedule. Can they qualify? Really, it's about Ohio State. Can they qualify for a playoff? Is there going to be a playoff? There are bowl games.
Sources have said that they would like an 8-game season, 8 or 9 game season, with the conference championship game being on December 19th to sneak it in before that December 20th selection day. And I can tell you that if the Big Ten is going to be allowed back in the college football playoff, all 10 FBS commissioners and Notre Dame athletic director Jack Warwick would make that decision. My gut says yes, of course they would let them in.
Yeah, I think so. Especially if it's Ohio State, that they're looking at, because I think that's really what it's all about, like Paul Feinbaum said. But money and influence and power are huge. Plus, on top of that, the common sense thing is everybody else is playing. Kids are back in school. They're back in college. So originally when we were talking about this, well, we're going to have mostly a hybrid and people are going to be working from their home and kids aren't going to be back in class. And then colleges says, no, we're going to bring people in. I could understand if you're like, we're not going to have any on-campus learning whatsoever. But if you're bringing kids in and you're bringing these young adults in, I say kids, but they're young adults, not full-grown adults yet as far as their brains, but they're young adults. You're going to have them there. Then this is what it is. And overwhelmingly, the players we've got to do this. We want to do this. We want to play. And you give the players the opportunity to option out if they don't want to. So now everybody's going to look over and go, okay, what's going on with the Pac-12? Are they going to do this sooner or later? I think it's going to happen, but we'll see. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Speaking of college football in the South getting a deluge when it comes to salary.
We have anti-surge. Truly, a north wind, gusts to 75, and the Mobile River pushing from north to south. We had met a tugboat operator a couple days ago when we got here, and he just reported to us that they are down 10 feet on the Mobile River where their tugboat is parked. So pushing out of Mobile Bay on this back side.
Yeah, so Sally is going to be a Category 2 as it's been hitting the shores and Pensacola, and it's crazy right there as it is. And it's one of those ones where It's slow moving. Slow moving means a deluge of rain and precipitation. That's where the flooding comes from, and that's the stuff that always does the most damage.
Main Street in downtown Pensacola. It is a river. I've got to squat low because the winds just keep gusting. And the police department saying this morning that there are so many roads closed because of debris and flooding. There's just too many to list, and they are not going anywhere until it gets safe to do so. And unfortunately, it looks like that's going to be quite some time with this slow-moving system. Rob Marciano, ABC News, Pensacola, Florida.
At the wildfires, that seems to be getting, well, it's still nasty, but the air's cleaning up, and that's good. There's some of the worst air in the world. And we had it here in Arizona, the wildfires in California, that it was so nasty, the skies, that it looked like it was foggy here at times. And we were expected to have some overcast and some cooler weather over the weekend, but the fact that it felt like it was going to rain and that was all from the nasty air quality. And it's clearing up a little bit. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
What deal can we have, Crazy Nancy? I'm sorry, that was the president. I have such reverence for the office, I would never use that term. But it is hard,
you just did.
Isn't it? Oh, come on.
But you just did.
You know what I mean. You know, what I mean. The reverence I have for the office is so great.
This guy is crazy. A little bit. Smidge. And if you don't think so,
let me get this right. On the one hand, we can vote for Pelosi's $3.4 trillion bill, or we can agree to allow her to put the House majority, Democratic majority, into jeopardy. I mean, that's just bone deep down to the marrow foolish. The Speaker knows where we stand. The Republicans in the Senate are unified. With respect, there are times, particularly recently, when I think Speaker Pelosi is one of those people who tried Tide Pods.
Okay. You got to show the you got to show the office a little more reverence. It's not good when we call each other names. But can I just say for a moment, John Kennedy makes me laugh. He does. Even producer Anthony. Now, if you guys know my producer Anthony and producer Phil. So producer Phil, the technical producer, he makes sure that the ship is going places it needs to go, the whole 9 yards. Producer Anthony, on the story side of things, and it's he and I talk all the time, and we have a reverence for John Kennedy. And Anthony's not a big he's not a Republican, I'll tell you that right now. But we all have a little soft spot in our heart because he should have his own talk show at times. He should. Makes me laugh. It does. Speaking of laughing and not laughing, as we move on in this world of wokeness, Judd Apatow was talking about cancel culture. He was on with Ari Melberg, who for all intents and purposes could bore everyone to death. And Hollywood is having their reckoning and their comeuppance, which is everybody there wants to be woke. They've made everything woke and politically correct. They want to get rid of genders and everything else, yet they want you to recognize gender and everything else. They used to be the place where you go and you were an artist and you took chances. And now, because of all of the stuff that they have pushed for and all of that wokeness and all of that, they're running into the fact that they are facing their comeuppance.
So say someone has 3 tweets from 7 years ago that are truly horrifying. It's pretty rare that you'll see a conversation with that person dissecting it, explaining the moment, explaining what they were thinking, apologizing or explaining in some way that gives you a little more perspective than just reading 3 tweets. And I think that's what's dangerous about it is I feel like a lot of times things are worth more deep exploration.
Translation from Judd Apatow. Director, writer, funny dude, filmmaker. Like, knocked up, 40-year-old virgin, this is 40, the king of Staten Island, funny people. You guys get where we're going with this. Freaks and Geeks is we take a moment in time. So somebody tweeted something 8 years ago. We've decided now is the time that we're going to go after said person with no nuance or context of what was going on. Maybe in the middle of a conversation back and forth on a thread with somebody that when put in context, you go, oh, okay, but we don't do that. There is no and part of that is, and it's the same thing even with news and finding, fake news, this, that, and the other. Do you know, once or twice a day, I will get things sent to me from people because they believe something to be true, but they're not quite sure. It's not hard to look up and see if it's true or not. We don't do deep dives on anything, let alone what somebody meant, said, or what kind of conversation was being had 8, 10, 12, 14 years ago, or what the context of what somebody did, whether it was a tweet or a conversation or a comedy routine or something they were writing, any of that stuff.
And some stuff is awful. And then the question becomes, well, what do you want to do if someone at one moment said something awful? How do you decide what that means? Do you think they're a terrible person now? Do you think they shouldn't be allowed to work now? Are they allowed to apologize and go, that was an awful thing to do in that moment?
Do you observe an actual chilling effect from that in writers' rooms or in your work or anything you're involved in, or not?
I think it's probably happening to an extent where there are probably comedy people that just pull back. Just very subtly, they pull back.
Not subtle. I was talking to Adam Carolla the other day, and you want to know, as we were chatting, and I said, dude, how, like with all the chaos, man, I mean, this craziness. He said, Chad, I'm lucky because I got F me money. He goes, there's F you money and then there's F me money, meaning it could all go away tomorrow and I'm fine. I didn't get into comedy because I wanted to make people, like me. I got into comedy and did what I did, and I really didn't care what people thought. Today's generation doesn't work that way. You can't do that. And so your goal is, how can I build something up that's strong enough, big enough, that if this went away and that went away, I've got enough of an audience and a following that I can protect myself, not having to worry about what does Hollywood think? What do sponsors think? What does this radio company think? What does this television company think? What does this... That's what you need. Comedy is meant to challenge people. Art was meant to challenge people as much as it was meant to entertain. And that means challenge individuals, societies. It also means to challenge the people in power. He says something about the only people I see out there that challenges and has challenged people and continues to do so 2 decades in.
Let's talk about people who won't pull back. South Park, right? They're not going to pull back. That's just who they are in the best possible way. Satirically, it's meant to, knock you out of your way of thinking or to open you up to a new line of thought. So would you want them to not do that because they're terrified that they're going to make an error along the way? I do think that comedy should be criticized. I don't feel like it should end people.
No. And get us, people, the criticizing is fine. Because you just may not like that style of comedy. Like Jesselneck, if you guys have ever seen people like that, he makes me laugh and he makes you think, and he'll say stuff that just like, oh my God, I can't believe he said that. And I remember, Tosh said one time, man, I draw that line and then I cross it and I continue to cross it to see how far you can let me go. But cartoons are the place now where you can go and hide. You watch Rick and Morty. Family Guy. I enjoy Family Guy. I do. I still like it. But you go watch Rick and Morty. The things that they get away with. And it's weird. People act like that's not real human beings that create those things. Well, it's almost a way to hide funny things, humorous things, and say things in the most absurd way that you may think in a non-hateful way, but something to get a laugh out of somebody or to question something. It's kind of like, having a ghostwriter do something. Then he talks about something that is very real. And Jake Tapper actually got into it. We've been talking about Mulan, Disney, the way that Hollywood has gone off the rails. Basketball, the NBA with China, the English Premier League told China to go shove it. Didn't trust them that they were going to get paid. Also didn't like the fact that they had targeted some of their players, like Mesut Ozil, who would question China and their treatment of the Uyghurs. Jake Tapper came out after Mulan after what they have in the credits.
But maybe you stay for the credits and you see Disney thank the propaganda authorities of the ruling Chinese Communist Party in Xinjiang. That's right. Not only did Disney film this movie, Mulan, in the epicenter of the part of China where the U.S. State Department estimates the Chinese government has detained as many as 2 million ethnic Uyghurs and other Muslim minority groups in internment camps, but the U.S. government says that they are subjecting Uyghurs to torture.
Yeah, that's Disney. Uh-oh. They thank them.
But not only did they film Mulan there, Disney also thanks a local police department in their credits, a police department that was sanctioned by the U.S. government for its role in running these concentration camps. How standard is it to film in an area where the local government has concentration camps and is being accused of genocide?
And here's the hypocrisy of Disney. They don't want to film in Georgia because of their abortion stance. Oh, yeah. So Judd Apatow is very honest about that.
What I perceive as more chilling is a corporate type of censorship that people don't really notice, which is a lot of these giant corporate entities have business with, countries around the world, Saudi Arabia or China, and they're just not going to criticize them, and they're not going to let their shows criticize them, or they're not going to air documentaries that go deep into truthful areas because they just make so much money. So while we're all going, can we say this joke or not say that joke, on a much bigger level, they have just completely shut down critical content about human rights abuses in China. And I think that's much scarier.
Yeah. See the NBA going after Daryl Morey and having him try to take down tweets for all of these things because he was standing up for people in Hong Kong.
You're talking about global conglomerates that say, we still need to be able to sell a version of this in China. And so we're not even going to accept this in what's already being greenlit, let alone something that's more provocative.
Hey, I want to write a movie about the concentration camps in China and Muslims in concentration camps. I want to write a movie about someone who escapes. No one would buy the pitch. Instead of us doing business with China and that leading to China becoming more free, what has happened is a place like China has bought our silence with their money.
Yeah. And that is scary. That is so scary.
It all affects creativity. We want to be free to make fun of people. We have to make fun of people. That's part of what we do to point out problems, to point out corruption.
But when you take that away and you control the language, we're becoming more like China at times than we hope China becomes like us. And for all of the chaos that Trump brings, I think he does bring out a good point in the way. And I wish he would handle them a lot tougher. I wish he would. I wish we and I don't for an instant believe for 1 second that Joe Biden is going to. But it's not just about China in what's going on there. It's the hypocrisy of all of it and the fact that we can't make fun of people anymore. We can't poke fun. We can't say things in jest. It's all becoming, they talk about Orwellian. Bob Woodward does, but he doesn't talk about it in the way that many people think you should talk about it. Controlling of language, thought, all of these things, changing past. That's scary. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. I do. Rough Greens, my dog Doodle. I was talking to Doodle last night. I don't think he understands me. I said, Doodle, people ask about you every day. You're like becoming a famous dog. And he's just looking at me like, what? What? Are you going to feed me more? He loves his Rough Greens. It's not dog food. I sprinkle it on his dog food. It brings his dog food to life. And it also has helped all of his ailments. He had horrific arthritis and fatty tumors in his hips. In fact, it was to the point we thought about putting him to sleep. You could feel the bumps. And my thought was, he keeps nipping and biting at everybody and growling when you get around just trying to pet him. And it was awful. And I felt bad for him. We didn't know what to do. Then we started giving him Rough Greens. We're 6 months into this now. He bounces around with the puppies. He runs around. He jumps on the bed. He does stuff that he's never done before. And it's amazing. It's got all kinds of amazing fruits and vegetables, probiotics, omega-3, 6, 9. You name it, it's got it. And it's only cost $14.95. So it's less than $15 for a 2-week jumpstart. Try it. Put it to the test. See what Rough Greens can do for you. It'll be the best thing you ever done for your pup. Do it. Go to roughgreens.com/Chad. RUFFgreens.com/Chad. Or call 833-MyDog88. 833-MyDog88. $14.95 for a 14-day jumpstart. Rough Greens. We make any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
Well, get over it. It's time to forge a new path with your very own political cartographer, Chad.
It's funny, TikTok, I'm watching this MAGA flipping around. They've got all these things, golf and all this stuff. And there's somebody sent me this thing, and there's this guy who's got Black Lives Matter, and it's like a Trump rally, and he's walking down the middle of them. And they've got their flags and their MAGA hats on, and he's flipping all of them off. And not one person has done anything to the guy. They've not punched him. They've not kicked him. They've not screamed at him. They just walk right by him. And he's just like, I just found it funny. And I find it funny too. And he's flipping them off right in their faces. People just smiling, getting onto it. It's so sad that we just can't deal with one another as adults. We're so angry. We live in this amazing country. This country's nothing but racism. It's not. Settle down. It's systemic racism everywhere. The system is, there are parts that need to be fixed. Go anywhere in the world. Show me the perfection you seek. Show me the place where you find that perfection. Show me the place where it is, everything is equal and perfect and amazing. And by that, I mean the outcomes are equal. Everybody lives the exact. Show me that. Usually what I'll show you is a bunch of misery. Got to stop fighting with each other. We do. Got to have conversations in this country. Shouldn't be hard to have conversations, but it is. People take everything personal. We're just talking about the quote-unquote politically correct world. Right? With Judd Apatow. And it's funny. It's so true. We can't challenge anything. We can't challenge authority. We can't make fun of stuff. One side of the aisle, you can do whatever you want, say whatever you want, how. And one side of the aisle is completely off limit on any kind of humor. Everybody wants to have their own safe space, and they want to be able to criticize and maybe say something about you, but they want nothing said back to them. It is a sad place. When we lose our humor is when we're going to start to go downhill, and we better fight harder for our humor. Because with that comes the satire, with that comes the challenging of authority, with that comes the righting of the chaos and craziness, when we can start to sit down and have conversations about one another, to each other, about their lives, about your life, my life, things we've been through. That's what we need more of. Laughter. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me, text the program, Chad Benson Show TV. That's your YouTube channel. Go check it out there. Try to put that stuff up on a daily basis. Sometimes I get a video or two up. Some days I'm busy. We're getting ready to do something fun with that as well. Putting in politics. We're going to take a progressive out and a conservative out, maybe a person who can't stand Trump and a MAGA supporter who just lives for Trump, and we're going to go play golf. We'll find commonality. We're going to have fun. We're going to talk politics and try to find where we think we all want to be and how we go there. Have a blessed, wonderful day. Got you over the hump. We always do. You have a good one. Night, night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.